Hey guys, how are you all doing today? I have a very special guest appearing on my channel. We are going to be doing a vintage glam makeover on the beautiful Ruby Culpepper.
Yes.
Her handle will be in the description box. She goes by Rucu. She is fabulous. Make sure that you check her out. We're going to be taking this modern skate queen to full vintage glam. We are going to jump right into the tutorial today. I'm going to be starting off with Ruby's hair and then makeup. There will be a voiceover. I know that you all are not used to me doing voiceovers, but today will be a voiceover just to help make things easy, and then we're going to come back and we're going to chat about all of it. I'm going to give her an on-the-spot interview about the whole process. Are you
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Are you
Let's
ready?
do this.
Okay, so if you would like to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notifier so that you're never left out. And with that, we're going to get into some glamour. I mean, look at this hair, you guys. So if you'd like to see how we are going to take this street queen into vintage glam, then please come and hang out with us. So I am about to start on Ruby's hair. Ruby, may I take this out?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And I told her specifically not to wash her hair because victory rolls are really created better on dirty hair, something that has grip and it's not, slick and smooth. Ruby has, first of all, she has the most beautiful hair in the world.
I have a mane is what I have.
She does. She is like a My Little Pony. She's my little pony, okay? I'm super excited. And it's very thick. It's very coarse. And she also has a natural wave to her hair.
Yes.
What I'm going to do that you'll see is I'm going to start curling her hair because I want her to have these long, beautiful, luscious locks. But where I'm going to be creating the victory rolls, I will probably curl it and let them hang, and then I'll be wrapping it. So does that sound okay with you?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to get started. You guys are going to hear the voiceover. Don't be alarmed. It's just something that I'm going to have to do for this particular video. So we're going to get into it. All right. Voiceover time, which I'm not used to doing, so I hope that this goes well. What I'm starting off with is using my Cleopatra rat tail comb. I'm parting Ruby's hair according to the way that I want her victory rolls to set. This is really important to do it before you start styling your hair. It just makes any brush out or styling process easier. I used a little bit of dry shampoo at her root to kind of bulk up her hair strands and give it grit. The more grit you have in your hair, the more your roll is going to stay and stay put for a very long, eventful day. Now I'm going through and sectioning off where these victory rolls are going to be. When you're creating victory rolls, it's really a good idea to get kind of like a vision, how high you want the victory roll to sit, how far back, and then you're just going to be sectioning it off. And what I've done here, and you'll see on the other side, is that I've sectioned off this portion of her hair that is going to be the victory roll right behind her ear. And then I'm using my 1/2 inch curling iron just to make these really pretty ringlets. I am tucking the ends in. That's very important. You don't want your ends to be sticking out of the curling iron. When you do that, it creates more of that beachy type of wave and not that glamorous, very curled and crisp type of wave. Now, after a good bit of back combing, and you don't have to do a very hard
set of backcombing. You just want to give your hair enough stiffness so that as you're rolling your hair, the roll will stay. And that's going to really depend on how thick or thin your hair is. For me, I have to do a whole lot more backcombing than I had to do on Ruby because Ruby has very, very thick, coarse hair. So I knew that it was going to stay on its own. So once I did some backcombing, I'm really using this moment to figure out how I want the bud to sit. Now, I call the opening of a victory roll a bud. And the reason I do that is it reminds me of a rosebud. So here I just did some more teasing. I figured out exactly where I want the hair to sit on the top of her head. And I'm taking these blonde bobby pins. Because her hair is multicolored, blonde really, really blends well with her hair. If you do not have multicolored hair, if you do not have blonde hair, buy bobby pins that match the color of your hair so that when these bobby pins are inserted into the top of the victory roll, they will be as invisible as possible. Now, taking cues from my wonderful YouTuber here on the YouTubeverse, her name is Miss B. Townsend. I learned that you want to close the back of your victory roll. You don't want your roll to be see-through like a tunnel. You do want to close it. So that's really what I'm focusing on at this point while you're watching it slowed down, not in hyperlapse, is I'm just making sure that there are no areas of see-through. I'm tucking in all the loose ends. I'm using hairspray. This particular hairspray is from Pureology and it's a molding hairspray. So it will allow me to lightly sculpt the area and the hair without it creating any stiffness. So once I have that in place, I'm going to try to smooth out as many flyaways that I can. Of course, I will be resetting this with a finishing hairspray and a pomade towards the end. This is how I have parted Ruby's hair. You can see I said that I was going right behind the ear, so you can see right at the end of their hair where I've parted it, and then I'm clipping the rest of her hair back to keep it out of the way. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side as I had done on the right. I'm just going to be sectioning off her hair, spraying it with heat protectant, and curling it under. One of the things I didn't get to mention while I was curling the first section of her hair is heat protectant spray. You want to use it. One, you want to protect the fragile hair, no matter if it's fine, coarse, medium, and then you want to be able to brush that through the hair and then curl. The reason for that is it also helps to hold the curl. The curling part before you even roll is just going to make life easier. It's going to simplify your roll so that you can, whether you're doing multiple victory rolls or just 2 or 3, it just makes life a lot simpler. Plus, it helps those ends get tucked in because you're curling them in the curling iron. And it helps them to get tucked in so that they're not sticking out at weird angles in the roll once you have it ready to go. So now both of her victory rolls are sitting beautiful on top of her hair. I absolutely loved working on Ruby. I loved working on her hair. She has the most amazing hair, and then all the colors were so vivid and so pretty, all swirled in together. It just reminded me of like that perfectly swirled ice cream cones. And I just decided after talking to her, because her hair is so long and it's so beautiful, and because Ruby is she's so unique, she's so artistically inclined, she does so many fun things in the community in which we live in. Her videos, there'll be 2 videos in the description box for you guys to go and check out her channel. But I just decided I wanted to create more of a looser vibe on the rest of her hair. Yes, I am still taking cues from, vintage styling. I'm making sure that these ringlets are in fact ringlets and that the ends are curled up and in, and I will be brushing them out into one beautiful gigantic coif wave. But I didn't want to tuck it in tight and create a Gibson tuck or chignon. I really wanted that rockabilly vibe to come through on her. I just think that it suits her personality a little bit better. So at this point of the tutorial, Ruby's hair is completely done. So I'm going in using the TG Bedhead Masterpiece Finishing Hairspray. Now this hairspray is my absolute favorite because, and I say this in all my videos that I have it in, it leaves shine, it gives fantastic hold and humidity resistance, but it doesn't make your hair so stiff that if you try to go and brush it out, it's going to break the hair shaft. So I really, really like it. And you can see I've already gone ahead and I've brushed through those ringlets, and I've just created these really beautiful large curls throughout her entire head. And look at those colors, you guys. Oh my gosh, I just love it. I love how this hairstyle in particular really showcases Ruby's beautiful hair color. always start with major prepping of the skin before I move into any makeover. That's just something that I do as an esthetician. I know that your makeup is only going to look as good as the foundation that it's sitting on. So I did very much prep Ruby's skin according to her skin type. She has oiliness to her skin, and then I primed her with an appropriate primer. I usually like to start carving out the face during a makeover by starting with the brows. So what I'm using here are two different brow mediums. One of them is the Anastasia Brow Wiz. I love that because it will help create tiny little hairs where you might not have hair in your brow. And then I go back up and I thicken it a little bit with some brow powder. Here I'm using a concealer, one that has brightening properties in it, to really just define the high points of Ruby's face. Yes, I am contouring around the brow. I'm not doing this in a sense to make it extreme. I'm doing it to subtly enhance. So I'm going to be blending a lot of this out, although you can see it extremely in this portion of the tutorial. It will be blended out so that towards the end, everything is just enhanced, but you can't really see where one thing starts and one thing ends. Underneath the eyes, I'm just taking a bit of concealer. Of course, this is all being done before I apply her base. And I'm just going to get rid of any of the darkness, dark circles, and discoloration that Ruby lightly has underneath of her eyes. I'm using one of my favorite Morphe brushes for this too, by the way. So if there's anybody out there who would like a great Morphe recommendation, I will put the concealer brush in the description box because it is $6. It's amazing. I like to go back in using a 217 brush from MAC and feather out that concealer once I've applied it. This really helps if you're working on somebody who has more mature eyes because it will help keep the concealer from creasing. After that, I'm going in with a concoction of foundation. This is by Kat Von D. It is her Lock-It foundation, which I find fantastic for building coverage. You can do sheer or full. And I just basically mixed a couple colors together to find the appropriate shade for Ruby's face. Using a very damp, lightly damp, small mini beauty blender, I'm taking the Lock-It setting powder from Kat Von D, which has brightening properties in it, and I just am chiseling out her jawline there. And of course, I've applied it underneath her eyes, and I'm letting that sit and bake in quotation marks. I don't necessarily put so much powder on the face that it's really quantifiably said as baking, but for makeup terms, it's baking. I'm contouring here very lightly, again, using Kat Von D products, and then it's time to blend. When it comes to contouring and highlighting, the key is blending, and you have to do it according to your face shape. You know, Ruby has beautiful cheekbones. You know, her nose is practically perfectly straight, so there wasn't so much contouring really done on her nose. I did chisel out her jawline quite a bit. I wanted to bring that out prominently. And then I'm just using, right now, here I'm using blush. I use two different shades of blush to really create that beautiful natural flush. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to powder everything down, and then apply highlighter. Really, the highlighter, when you're applying it to someone's face, is you just want to hit the high points. And there's so many ways that you can highlight a face. You can do cheekbones, you can do down the center of the nose, you can do right on the Cupid's bow. But for me, it was really about bringing out her cheekbones, her brow bone, emphasizing the structure of her nose, and making that top lip look a little bit bigger. Before I do any of my eye looks, I always use a primer, which is what you saw me using in the beginning. That one was a Painterly Paint Pot. No, it wasn't Painterly, I'm sorry. That one is called Orb. I'm using MAC eyeshadows as well to really create and define her eye. Because this, of course, is a vintage glam, I'm keeping all of the colors concurrent to that era and time. So we're using a lot of peaches, whites, browns, a little bit of gray. And I'm just using them strategically all over her eye to really create a lot of depth, bring the lid of her eye forward, open her eyes, make them look bigger. Ruby has beautiful almond-shaped eyes. And then I'm going in and I'm using a NYX matte liquid liner just to lightly shape out her eye and give it some more glam. But instead of taking the wing out excessively, I bring the wing out slightly and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to use a pointed Q-tip towards the end to sharpen the edge of that line. And the reason that I've stopped it short is I didn't want to close in Ruby's eye and hit any hoodedness. You have to be very mindful of that when you're working on different individuals, is if their eye is slightly hooded, even if it doesn't look that way, it can distort the look of a wing liner. So sometimes you might make your wing liner larger on other people, you might make it thinner, you might make it thicker. It's really according to the individual eye shape of whoever you're working on. Of course, I chose some delicate kiss lashes to apply to Ruby's eyes. She looks fantastic. Of course, we have to finish off with a signature red lip. I'm using MAC products here. This is the Cherry Lip Liner. And I usually, and always, I won't say usually, I always sharpen the lip liner to an extreme point. The more that you do that, the more you're able to crisp out the lip line, define it, overdraw it, and keep it clean. For added definition, I always fill in the lip line with a lip liner, and then I go back in with the lipstick that I want to use. This one in particular is called Russian Red. I have my client blot, and then I go back in using a lip brush to add more depth and more definition and keep things nice, crisp, and clean.
Okay, so Ruby has not seen herself. I'm going to turn her around. We put her in her beautiful retro dress. I'm going to turn her around so that you guys get an honest to God reaction out of her. Let me take this for you.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, you ready?
I think so.
Close your eyes.
Ooh. Yes. Oh my God, sorry.
Oh, don't you do that to me.
Don't you dare cry. Oh my God.
Do you love it?
Yes, I do. I feel like I just went through a time machine or something. Sorry, I can't stop smiling.
No, it's what we want. It's what we want. So, Ruby,
yes.
your makeover is done.
Oh, hold on. I'm fixing it.
Oh.
An artist's work is never done.
It's never done. So we have finished the entire transformation. I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video so far. So for all of those who have watched it, please comment below and let me know what was one of the favorite things you loved seeing today. Was it the hair? Was it the makeup? Was it the energy? Please let me know. Ruby, I'd love to ask you some questions now.
Sure, shoot. I'm ready.
So tell me tell me your thoughts of this makeover, because you've never done vintage before.
I haven't, and this isn't really my forte, but I love it. I feel, like you said, like a goddess.
You look amazing.
I feel like I stepped out of a time machine from like the 50s.
With rainbow hair.
With rainbow hair.
We love the rainbow hair. We love the rainbow hair.
Would you say this is 50s or maybe?
So the victory rolls actually historically are from the 1940s.
40s,
It
okay.
was something that women during World War II would actually don the crown of their head with, because if the victory rolls are together, it actually will create the shape of a V, which stands for victory over the war that we are in
I
42,
did not know
which is
that.
World War II. Yeah.
And speaking of the victory rolls, I like how you have them kind of offset. They're not completely centered. I really like that.
So I love that she mentioned that, because, and I did that on purpose. If Ruby, you look right into the camera, you will see it is slightly off-centered. So one is slightly bigger than the other, although I did do a lot of teasing. And the reason for that
is normal.
And then, seriously, if you have not seen this video and this is the only part you're seeing, go back and watch it again. Go back and watch it again. Go back and watch it again. If you have very, very thick hair, and you want to avoid what I call Minnie Mouse ears, slightly parting off to the side will still give you that beautiful, voluptuous victory roll. But it won't make it look so much like Minnie Mouse ears. When your hair is really thick and you have so much hair on top and you're doing it right down the center, it's almost like it can get a little, like, in my opinion, and there's nothing wrong with anybody who's wearing their hair like this, but it looks a little bit more like Minnie Mouse ears.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to keep it authentic. So.
And I like this a lot.
I'm so glad. It looks beautiful.
It does.
I feel very honored that Ruby guest starred on my channel, and that I really was the first artist that has touched her face. It makes me feel extremely good and humbled, and just blessed that you trusted me with it.
Well, I do. I feel very safe with you, and I do trust you, and obviously, the results speak for themselves.
So how does it feel? Like, since this really was your first glam makeover, like...
Well, I can feel the makeup, but it's very, I don't know, it doesn't feel heavy or saturated, or I don't know the correct term, but you know.
Cakey.
Cakey, okay. It
Cakey.
feels, it
Hashtag
feels,
cakey.
Hashtag cakey. It feels it feels very light, very breathable, I guess you could say. You know, it feels, yeah. This is my first time wearing fake or artificial lashes.
But they literally fit your eye like they were made for it. I did a little bit of trimming, but they look so natural.
They do, well, that's what I love, that they look so natural.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't want to overload her eye with big false lashes, kind of like what I'm wearing today, because I wanted Ruby to be able to see her eyes. So when you are working on an individual, if you're a makeup artist or just somebody who's kind of artistically inclined and you can create and paint and do faces, when you are working with more of an almond-shaped eye, and it can get closed in very quickly, you want to do things to open it, especially if you're doing vintage, because it's all about big, bright eyes. So I didn't want to put anything too heavy on her. For one, this is her first time wearing false eyelashes, and I have to, like, when you're doing makeovers, you've got to take cues from your client. For instance, please share what was one of the things you did not want me to do.
It was the eyeliner, but it's like on the
tight lining.
Tight lining. Okay. Yeah. I don't know all the terms, but it kind of freaked me out, like getting that close to my eyeball, and
whether it was top or bottom, she was like, no, that's not for me, and that's okay. So as an artist or as a professional, you have to take cues from your client, and although that might be part of the package or something that you want to do, if she doesn't feel comfortable with it, then don't do it. So it was the same thing with lashes. I knew this was a first for her, and there was no way I wanted to double stack her lashes. I wanted to create something that would make her feel comfortable.
Yeah, and they felt a little weird at first, but now it's just kind of, they're just there. I mean,
I hope you continue to love them.
I do.
Save them. And I'm loving the red lipstick.
I do too.
I'm loving the red. So we actually have 2 different shades of lipstick on, so it kind of shows you, like, everyone can wear red, whether you're really fair or you're more tan complected, because Ruby has a medium complexion.
Yes.
If we hold our arms up, like, she's got more brown in her skin. Yeah, there we go. And I'm more like white. So it just goes to show that anyone can wear red lipstick. So if you're watching this and you're like, I wonder if I can do it, yes, you can do it.
I love it. These are some serious lips.
You look lovely.
I feel lovely. Thank you for having me. This has been such a great experience.
Well, we have to forewarn them. We plan to do more collaboration videos. I'm going to put 2 of Ruby's latest videos from her channel called Rucu. That's the name of her handle.
Yes.
She's done some amazing skater things. And I do make an appearance in the video, so please go and check them out. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment. I will get back to you. I love hearing from all of you, and I love responding to your comments. So please comment away with any questions, whether you have them for me or for Ruby. I can always pass them on to her. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you'd like to see more transformation videos, let me know, because I would love to start putting them together kind of like episodically.
That would be cool.
All of our social media handles will be in the description box, Ruby's included, so you can check us out and follow us on all the different platforms that we have. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, hit the bell notifier so you're never left out. I post new videos every Friday at 4. And I would love for you to come back and hang out with me in the future. So I hope that you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you again.
Thanks for she's amazing, isn't she?
Thanks very much. Yay! So the only thing we need,
that's a wrap.
And that's a wrap. We're done.